Café Anyway.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Episode 2750, 2750. Welcome to Mike's Daily Podcast here at Café Anyway, somewhere in Podcastro Valley.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
The last place on earth, somewhere in Ameritopica, where we have lots of topics, and this is one. It's about Pierce Brosnan, and he apparently walked into a prohibited area at a national park, and then that sounds like
Mike's Daily Podcast,
who is 70, he's facing 2 charges over allegations he entered restricted areas of
Mike's
Yellowstone
Daily
National Park in Wyoming,
Podcast,
which are closed to the public.
Yeah!
He's accused of hiking into a thermal area. Wonder is that what the hot tubs in the little creeks? Ooh, those are nice. Remington Steele should be allowed to be in the hot tub. And into the Mammoth Terrace's hot springs, which are both delicate ecosystems and extremely dangerous. People have died by falling into the boiling water. The initial court... Oh, great. So this, by the way, came from the wonderful people at Metro through MSN, and they've got to, of course, throw this big thing in my face. Was this content a good use of your time? And I despise the word content having to do with anything with it's just like a blanket statement. What I'm doing here, people call content. What you watch on television or YouTube is content. What you read online is it's a factory of information and entertainment. Whatever entertainment is that entertains your eyes, whatever entertains your ears, is now just called content. So just like anything you eat that's meat is called protein. We've decided to...
And here's today's podcast picture.
Not be specific anymore. The podcast picture is not of Pierce Brosnan or Hot Springs, but the wonderful Rocky the cat who visited the vet today, and he's got a clean bill of health, thankfully. And there's a picture of him relaxing and doing his thing where the cats love to do. And it's awesome when they sit on you in bed because it's like a little hot pocket, just keeping you warm, little warm fuzzy pillow. Just keeping you hot. Now, the late great Basil the Boxer. You know, he was never allowed on the bed. He never tried to get on the bed. I think maybe once. But he was very respectful of that. The couch, not so much. Couch, he'd jump on. Well, I have 2 couches, yes. One's very small, and that one he'd get on. That one we were okay with, hey, you can be on that couch. But the nicer big one, which now the cats completely rip apart with their claws, but we were Basil, you can't be on this nice couch, and now the couch is torn apart by cats. And that's how this little thing called irony happens. Is it an irony? I guess it's like a form of irony. I don't know. We'll have to bring in Alanis Morissette and ask her. So Pierce is accused of hiking into those areas that are dangerous, and the initial court docket had labeled the charges as a petty offense. Pierce's petty offense, with Pierce now pleading not guilty via paper filing and pleading for the court case to be dropped. So I don't know. I think maybe this should be dropped, but the charges over him being in Mamma Mia should be kept. Good gosh, he sang in that. Good for him, but he sang in that. He's Irish, did you know that?
MTV News. You hear it first.
Wealth on the world.
And now you're probably asking, what's that guy who thinks he's Howard Hughes because he's wearing bomber jackets all the time? Elon. What is Elon Musk doing? Well, his stock, Tesla stock, has fallen 12% this year. Did you hear that Teslas are having a heck of a time in the cold? With this crazy cold, frigid weather And these Teslas, because the Tesla you don't find it in anywhere in the U.S. unless you're near a city, a big major city. And of course, here in the Bay Area, they're everywhere. Prevalent all up and down the streets. But in the cold, they don't do so well. It takes a lot of electricity to run the car, obviously, and the battery gets sapped, and it needs to be recharged to keep it warm, so the passengers, the occupants of the car, are not freezing. It takes up a lot of electricity, so they're constantly needing to be charged. The charge doesn't go as far in the cold. So another reason why those cars suck. why we have a very unfavorable name that rhymes with Ushla when we talk about Teslas, and there are just way too many in the Bay Area, and they're annoying. Okay, and the people that drive them drive so slow. And you can't see around them. If you're in a Honda, you can't see around them because they're so big. They're supposed to be a small car, but they're big. There's some weird cross between SUV and a normal car. So Elon Musk took to his social media platform X to essentially threaten Tesla's board of directors over executive compensation. He said he wants more voting power if he is to grow the electric vehicle maker into a leader in artificial intelligence and robotics. He currently owns a 13% stake in the company, and he wants 25% voting control to be comfortable pushing the company's AI ambitions. He's got AI ambitions big time in robotics. He wants to live on Mars, so you know he wants to be in all that. He holds some 300 million unexercised stock options, 300 million, representing about 9% of shares outstanding with Tesla, including those the world's richest human controls about 20% of Tesla's stock. And Tesla uses its AI computing platform to help train its autonomous driving software. So they're already using AI to a large extent. As we go outside of Café Anyway, where we bring you Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcastro Valley, the last place on earth.
Anyway.
At the, what do we call this? Ameritopica, but it's not in America. Arnold got detained at the Munich airport in Germany. Southern Germany. He was detained by customs officers at the Munich airport for not declaring a luxury watch he was wearing while traveling to Austria.
You will travel into the incredible universe.
Schwarzenegger is 76, by the way. Oh, lovely lady friend is leaving. There she goes. Goodbye. She's outside. There she goes. She's doing the laws, and she's leaving. Or, what was the other band that did that song? Sixpence None the Richer. That's it. Okay. I love you, lovely lady friend.
Mike is on it, man.
Go where no man has gone before.
We love it, Mike.
I can't hear what you're singing. Sorry. But I bet it's great. Okay. Have a safe jog. I love you. There she goes into the night in Podcastro Valley. Into the wonderful areas of Podcastro Valley.
Magnification.
The stars. Look how they shine on you. Coldplay. And I didn't mention any lyrics from Bare Naked Ladies. Why not? I'm talking about 90s bands. Actually, Coldplay was more early 2000s.
You know, there's a real scary holiday coming up.
Yellow came out in 2001? 2000? Right in that area, the early O's. So Schwarzenegger, he's 76. He was detained for 3 hours at the airport. He is planning on auctioning this watch at his charity auction in Austria this week. He is scheduled to appear at an event to raise funds for the Schwarzenegger Climate Initiative, which supports climate projects around the globe. It was funny because we ate pizza last night. My lovely lady friend and I. And so she ordered the pizza. I drove over to get it. We didn't want to bring the delivery guys into this. We figured, heck, we'll save them gas and we'll burn ours and go get it and save money on the tip.
This is Mike's Podcast Picnic.
To pick up the pizza from a company that also has Mike in the name. And the guys there, they're super nice. And they've got a TV on. And it's so nice, by the way, that restaurants are back open again in the Bay Area, in California.
You know, I mean, people get stuck on stupid. You know what I mean?
I know they've been open for a while, but I keep having flashbacks about how awful those times were. And I understand I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I'm not a COVID conspiracy theorist or any of that. But I do know that we went through some tough times in the Bay Area, in California, with our strict policies. Gavin Newsom being extra careful and saying, hey, restaurants got to close. Okay. Restaurants need to stay in business, buddy. How's this going to work? Okay, well, people will be able to get food, but they got to go pick it up and then they leave. They can't sit there and enjoy the wonderful ambiance that the restaurant has spent all this money on to create a nice ambiance and pass the cost along to the consumer. So, okay, that's all gone. Well, pizza places didn't really care. I mean, you know, they got their big old screen and the big tables, the big long bench tables where people sit down after a softball game with the kids, the Little League game or soccer match, and they eat pizza and they scream and they run around.
When you are a man, sometimes you wear stretchy pants.
In this area of this pizza place, where nobody is, by the way, even though everything is open up again, they got a big screen playing, a big flat screen playing a movie, and guess what? It's Arnold Schwarzenegger. This was last night, and I don't know which movie this was, but it was the one where it starts off where he's got an axe and he's chopping wood and he's out in the wilderness somewhere. Maybe near a hot tub, maybe one of those hot springs, who knows? But I don't know which movie this was. I was saying to the guys there, what, is this Kindergarten Cop? What is this? And nobody knew if it was Predator or whatever. But one of the guys said, and he was older like me, he goes, gosh, Arnold looked amazing back then, because this was in one of the 80s movies he did. He was in such amazing shape. And he had such an influence with the way he looked on everybody. Everybody was, if they saw Arnold, they were like, oh, I got to work out. How does he do it? How does he? Now, Arnold wasn't releasing the big time videos, the big exercise videos like Jane Fonda was, and not doing getting the just music videos like Olivia Newton-John. Getting physical, and all that. Doing these movies, these really entertaining sci-fi action movies. And then he was branching out into comedies, and he did really great with that. Then he became our governor for a while, and it's debatable how good he was with that.
Kathy's Corner.
Kathy's Corner.
Still, for all I've heard, I mean, he's staying in pretty good shape, but like, we forget about. I mean, I was thinking about how Glenn Frey, the lead singer of the Eagles. Well, one of the lead singers. Yeah, also had Don Henley and Randy Meisner. And occasionally Joe Walsh would sing and Timothy B. Schmidt. But Glenn Frey, for a while, was all on the Arnold bandwagon. And he was pumping iron. And he had big old pythons, big old biceps for a while trying to be Arnold. And I know we were all like lifting weights. And then there was the whole Dana Carvey, Kevin Nealon thing, pump you up and all that stuff. It was a craze. He had such an influence on us. And it's cool that there is that side of Arnold where he wants to give back, where he wants to help, where he wants to help the environment. He wants to help our political system. It seems he's a force for good these days, from what I see. Now, back to the force for bad, or whatever you want to call him, and the company he owns. Talking Mr. Musk. Tesla uses its AI computing platform, training its autonomous driving software, and Tesla's board could await super voting stock. There is a distraction for investors and another firestorm And Musk, the irony is he sold billions of dollars of Tesla stock in 2022 to help fund his purchase of Twitter.
This show is clean.
Which he then changed the name to X. And then the stock and the options, it could be very close.
Pretty much.
He would be very close to 25% with that stock and the options had he held on to all of that.
Addenda with Kevin.
Apple has told 121 staff working on Siri, yes, your wonderful friend Siri. I don't know if I just made Siri turn on your Apple thing, sorry. Or Alexa, or maybe I just, or OK Google, or oops, I'm opening them all up, sorry. And whatever the one is on the Samsung phones, it's called Dexter. What is it called? I got it right here. Yes.
Fabagoo. Things to do. Things to do.
What are you called?
I didn't understand that.
Oh, Bixby. That's right.
I got through that. I got into it.
Yeah. Okay. That is the most useless piece of software. Bixby. Sorry, Bixby. You don't really work. Yeah, she just turned on. Yeah, you don't. Especially because...
I didn't understand that.
Yeah, you don't want to understand that. The thing is, you ask it to open Mike's Daily Podcast, it opens up something called the Mike's Daily Podcast. Some guy named Mike Staley. That just does not help me at all. So, back to Apple. They have told 121 staff working on that particular female name that I won't mention, that system that listens to you when you talk to it if you have an Apple product. But this is in San Diego. They told them, their staff, hey, you gotta leave San Diego, which parts of it are amazingly beautiful. Parts of it are not so nice, but parts of it, wow. And they said to them, you gotta move to Austin or you're going to face being laid off. The tech giant issued the ultimatum and gave the workers until the end of February to choose whether they want to move. If they opt not to, they will be terminated. Maybe Terminator. It comes back around, doesn't it? Maybe they could get a job working for the Buffalo Bills. They offered fans $20 per hour to shovel the snow out of Highmark Stadium when it got hit with a blizzard. That is a 33% raise from last year, which they offered $15 an hour. After the snowstorm in 2022, they offered people to shovel the snow. So wage growth has outpaced inflation in the current economy there with the Buffalo Bills. Good job there. Oh, and back to Tesla, Chicago area. Tesla charging stations are lined with dead cars in the freezing cold. A bunch of dead robots out here is what they said. That all from Rob Black. I produce his podcast, The Rob Black Show. He has all kinds of cool business news on his podcast. And then I also got this today, and there were some interesting stories that hit me. I'm going to kind of fly through these stories, but you heard about Biden meeting with the Mexican president. Fox News says Mexican President Andrés Manuel López Obrador issued a lengthy series of demands detailing what the U.S. must offer in exchange for Mexico's help in stemming the flow of migrants through our border with them. López Obrador's demands came during a press conference, which came roughly a week after he met with Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas and Secretary of State Antony Blinken in Mexico City. This was at the end of last month. The U.S. officials requested that Mexico boost its assistance in stopping illegal immigration.
Bans mutations.
Which, didn't Trump do that? Didn't he meet with Obrador and said, I'm going to make Mexico's president build the wall they kept talking about? Well, Obrador responded by demanding the U.S. give $20 billion to Latin America and Caribbean countries, grant work visas to 10 million Hispanics who have worked in the U.S. for at least 10 years, end sanctions against Venezuela, and halt the blockade of Cuba. That's wow. Asking for the moon, just like Trump asking him to build the wall. The negotiations come at a critical time for President Biden, whose polling numbers on illegal immigration have been low throughout his presidency. The U.S. also suffered a surge of migrants at the border this fall. Roughly 240,000 monthly migrant encounters at the border at the end of last year, according to Fox News.
Magnification.
Fox News says the Iran-backed terrorist group Hezbollah said that one of its top commanders have been killed in an airstrike. It was a strike on Jawad al-Tawil, who led the group's Radwan forces, was carried out by the Israeli military. Al-Tawil was traveling in a car with another Hezbollah fighter in the village of Majd al-Selm in southern Lebanon when he was struck. So that's Hezbollah, not Hamas, but that in that war, in all of the turmoil, and then you have the Houthis and all the other stuff going on. But William Penn, the statue that he had in Philadelphia, is going to be taken down. The National Review said the National Park Service has announced it will be rehabilitating via reduction Pennsylvania founder William Penn's Welcome Park to provide a more welcoming, accurate, and inclusive experience, named after the ship that bore Penn to the city of fraternal affection. The park is the site of his former Philadelphia home and the slate roof house. As part of this reimagining of Welcome Park, the Park Service has confirmed that the Penn statue and slate roof house model will be removed and not reinstalled. Penn, a Quaker, was known for advocating for championing religious freedom and believed in supporting amicable relations with local Native Americans, according to Just the News. And then back to all the turmoil going on with Israel and Hamas and how that is affecting us. Here, the National Review says pro-Palestinian protesters defaced the Los Angeles National Cemetery on about a week ago, a national burial place where more than 80,000 veterans of World War I, World War II, the Vietnam War, and more are laid to rest. Protesters spray painted "Free Gaza" on the entrance to the memorial and chanted "Long Live Palestine," and said there is only one solution. That's a Nazi reference. From the river, from the sea, Palestine will be free, and Biden, you're a liar.
The Royal Trump Tweet Decree.
Attorney Sam Yebri said today pro-Hamas extremists in LA sunk to a new low, vandalizing the venerable grounds of the Los Angeles National Cemetery, where 85,000 American heroes who sacrificed their lives for our freedom are interned. They even used a Nazi concentration camp symbol of an upside down red triangle. So terrible. I don't know what is going to come next from that group. They seem to never be. They're not spreading warmth and kindness at all, and I don't know if that's going to help their message. You know, it's all about the messaging. It's all about the actions people do, and I guess they could say that about Israel right now. But it's wow. So there was one particular person who was out of action for a while, and we didn't know where he went. And from Politico, President Joe Biden is not considering firing Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin after he did not tell the White House about his emergency hospitalization. That was beyond that. One official noted the president would not accept a resignation if Austin were to offer one. The Pentagon had already announced that Austin wasn't planning to resign. So he had complications from a prostate cancer, that they were treating him for prostate cancer. And he was in the hospital. The president didn't know about it. And of course, all the Republicans, because apparently this is the worst thing that's ever been done to the American government. Never mind that a bunch of Republican-backed protesters raided the Capitol and completely smeared our beautiful Capitol building. I mean, I guess it's up to you to decide how beautiful it is. I went there, thought it was amazing, it was inspiring, and you have to go to Washington, D.C. once. I'm getting sidetracked here, but it was anyway. It's amazing what each side goes. Okay, look what you did. The president should have fired him for not saying anything. It's kind of interesting how that now. Yes, he should have been more transparent. Is that a fireable offense? It's amazing how people ramp that up. So, and in that vein as well, they want to impeach DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. State attorneys general from the Heartland will testify at the first impeachment hearing. That happened. That's been happening this week. And there is more on the Jeffrey Epstein documents. A new round of court records is, according to ABC, from a lawsuit related to the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein were released, which included photos from an accuser as well as an exhibit that mentions discredited allegations that she made about Bill Clinton, Donald Trump, Prince Andrew, and Richard Branson. At least 17 documents were unsealed. More than 200 documents have been released since last week. The records are part of a defamation lawsuit brought by Virginia Giuffre, an alleged victim of Epstein, against his longtime companion. And that came from ABC. That JP Morgan also, this from Fox Business, JP Morgan analysts forecast that Biden is going to drop out of the 2024 race. And a top analyst at the nation's largest bank suggests the possibility should not be ruled out. It's Michael Sembelis, the chairman of market and investment strategy for JP Morgan Asset and Wealth Management. He listed Biden dropping out of the race as one of his 10 predicted surprises for this year in his 2024 Pillow Talk Outlook, I guess is what he calls it. That from Fox Business. Outside of Café Anyway, somewhere in Podcastro Valley, the last place on earth, look who's here. Hi, Mac. It's Benita the Rodeo Queen. How y'all doing? Answer Disgruntled Fiddle Player, tell you what. What? I find all this stuff fascinating. You know, you talking about Epstein and then the guy over there in Australia that's stuck at Munich, and then the guy that wants to go into hot tubs in Yellowstone. Is that Kevin Costner? Tell you what. No, that was Pierce Brosnan. Uh-huh. That's a whole lot of stuff for me to process right now. All right, I'll let you process it. Look who else is here. Hello, Mike. I make delicious root beer. How's the right now? Oh, thank you. Oh, that's awesome. What's that made out of? Sixpence None the Richer CDs. Drink right now. I'll cut you. Amazing. Okay, well, listen. We covered a lot of stuff today. I don't know. Was it profound? Did it get you moving? Did it get you thinking? Did it give you an idea of where what's happening? Who's doing what and who's not doing what? And what's that all about? And what's that up there? And what's that over here?
Holding court with Lady Katie.
In the comment section below, tell me what you think by commenting below. No. There's no real comment section below, but you can call this number.
Call Mike at the Café Anyway hotline. Area code 510-228-4640.
Yes, that's me, Mike, here in the East Bay. And with more ways to contact me and find out more about the podcast, here is Ariel.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at MikesDailyPodcast.com.
Email Mike now at MikesDailyPodcast@gmail.com.
See you tomorrow. Bye!